Alright, so let's make some parts. So go over here, click on New, and open the mech101.ipt file, which is the file that we've created specifically for this class, the file format, rather. You could also open the standard inch.ipt file if you're having any issues with the Mech 101. But open one of the two. Don't open the sheet metal one. It's a little problematic for our purposes. So you open up the Mech 101 file, and let's create a few sketches. So right-click on Start 2D Sketch. And these are the two-dimensional sketches I was talking about in the last video that you will send to us so we can manufacture your parts. And just a refresher, you do not need to give them a third dimension. You don't need to give your parts a thickness because the thickness is already preset at 3/16 of an inch. That is because our material, acrylic, is 3/16 of an inch thick. So we left-clicked on Start 2D Sketch, and let's pick any plane. We're going to pick the XY plane, and why don't we all just do that for consistency, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we have all our drawing tools up here under the Sketch tab. We don't really need any of the other tabs up here. 3D modeling we won't be doing. We might go into Inspect a little bit, but Tools, Manage, View, Environments, these are things that we don't really need to concern ourselves with at this time. So let's start with the simplest thing, a line. So left-click on the line. Oh, and a good tip, by the way, if you hold your cursor over a tool, it gives you a brief tutorial on how to use it. So it creates a line using the start and end point. And you can see now I have this little yellow dot following my cursor around, and that's going to be the first point of our line. So I can click anywhere, and I can see the coordinates are actually displayed on the screen. And those are the coordinates of that first point. So if I want to pick specifically the coordinates of that first point, I could press Tab. And we can see now that the X dimension is highlighted. And let's say I wanted the first point to be at the origin. Well, that would be when X is 0. And I could press Tab again. And that's when also Y is 0. So now my first point at the origin. And maybe I don't really care how far where my second point is, so I'm just going to pick, this looks good, right here. Okay, and I still have the line tool up. It doesn't go right away. But this time I do care how long my line is. Let's just say I did. And you can see that, again, I can type in exactly what I'd like. This time it's not the coordinates of the endpoint, rather it's the length of the line and the angle that it makes. So, and you could see the dotted angle that is the baseline for the angle. So let's say I would like my line at 170 degrees from the previous line and have a length of 1.5 inches. And there you go, it makes it right for you. But let's say I realized, oh no, I would like my line, I didn't need it 1.5 inches, I needed it 2 inches. No problem, just left click on that dimension, double click it, pulls up the edit dimension window, and change that 1.5 to 2, and press enter. Now we have a longer line. The other tools up here work very similarly. The circle, we just pick the center of our circle and type in what you'd like the diameter to be. I'm going to pick 1 inch because that's what I'd like. Similarly, I didn't have to type it in. I could have just dragged my circle out and clicked when I was satisfied with what looked to be a good diameter. If I wanted to see what that diameter was, I can go up here into dimension, left click that, then left click on that circle, finally one more left click, and looks like I have a dimension of about 1.01 inches of a diameter. If I wanted to change that, do the same thing I did for the line tool. Double click on it, highlight, and I'll change that radius to 3 inches. Now we have a really big circle. Before we go on to the rectangle tool, which will be the last tool that we use in this video, It's getting a little cluttered, so I'm going to delete all of this stuff. So we can select it in two different ways. We can start from the left and drag our cursor to the right, or we can start and we can see that red box comes up. We could also start from the right and drag our cursor to the left, and you can see, well, it's actually green. Well, there's a difference between the red and the green boxes. When you are using the red box, only objects that are entirely within the window are selected. So the 1-inch diameter circle here will be selected because it is entirely within the red box. However, the 3-inch diameter circle is not entirely within the red box, so it will not be selected. And you can see only things that were in the red box were selected. Okay, let's delete those. Just click the delete key. Okay. The green box is different. Anything that is partially within the green box, partially or entirely within the green box, is selected. So I only have to go like this if I want to select the green circle because it is partially in the box. And our green circle is selected, and we can click delete. You can also just click on objects to highlight them individually, and I can delete them that way. Okay, let's go see the rectangle tool. The rectangle tool will prompt you for the selection of the first point. So I'm going to select the coordinates of my x and y point. I'm going to make them 1 and 1, so I press tab, and then tab again to get to the y coordinate. Okay. And I'm going to try to make this rectangle a square. So let's have it be 2 inches, and tabbing to get the width by 2 inches. Now we have a nice rectangle. Again, if I wanted to make a rectangle without typing, I could just click for the first point, left click again for the second point, and now I have a dimension. By the way, if you want to get out of any tools that you're using, so you can see right now my rectangle tool is selected, and let's say I just want my cursor back up. I don't want to select a different tool. Just press the escape key, and your cursor's back. Finally, let's just dimension this rectangle to, let's see what I drew, because maybe I'd like to change it. We can see it has a 1.625 length and a 1.125 inch width. And if I wanted to change that width to 1.5, I could just type that in instead, and there you go. It's nice and bigger. All right, so let's finish that sketch. You just go up here to the top right corner, left click on Finish Sketch. It's done for you. You can zoom out with your scroll wheel, and you pan, which is what I'm doing now, moving by holding in the scroll wheel, pressing the button, and then moving your mouse. You zoom in by scrolling with the scroll wheel. Clicking and then dragging is panning. Okay, so we could just save that if we wanted to wherever you want in your computer. And on to the next video, we'll see a little more complicated and fun and interesting things that you can do with Inventor.